In recent days, a legal dispute has erupted that highlights deep-seated tensions between the judiciary and the Trump administration. At the heart of the controversy lies a court ruling that ordered the return of an individual, Mr. Garcia, who was wrongfully deported, only to be met with a defiant response from the executive branch. The unfolding drama not only underscores the complexities of immigration enforcement but also brings to light a contentious debate over judicial authority and executive power. The catalyst for this dispute was a ruling from a federal judge who decreed that Mr. Garcia, mistakenly deported due to an administrative oversight, be returned to the United States from a maximum security prison in El Salvador. The decision was grounded in the principle that a lawful court order had been violated, thereby necessitating corrective action. However, the Trump administration swiftly responded by questioning the jurisdiction of the judge, asserting that such authority did not extend to matters involving a foreign nation. This response was publicly conveyed through a tweet, where the administration suggested that the judge should instead contact President Bull to resolve the issue. Central to the controversy is the administration's claim that the deportation was the result of an administrative error. This explanation, offered as a justification in court, has raised significant concerns regarding accountability. Critics argue that if an error is acknowledged, the natural course of action should be to rectify the mistake, namely, by repatriating the individual in question. Instead, the administration's stance appears to prioritize a refusal to act, even when a clear judicial mandate exists. The contradiction lies in their willingness to send individuals to foreign prisons without proper legal basis, yet balking when it comes to reversing the decision in compliance with a court order. The legal breakdown is further compounded by three key facts that demand scrutiny. First, a judge explicitly prohibited the U.S. government from deporting Mr. Garcia back to El Salvador. Second, despite this clear prohibition, the government proceeded with the deportation, attributing the action to an administrative misstep. And third, the Department of Justice has admitted that it lacks the independent authority to compel the government of El Salvador to release Mr. Garcia and facilitate his return to the United States. This admission, found in a recent pleading, presents a stark picture of a government acknowledging its own procedural limitations while simultaneously refusing to correct its error. In an environment where legal mandates are being openly defied, questions naturally arise about the implications of such behavior. By dismissing the authority of the court and justifying its actions as mere administrative errors, the Trump administration appears to be engaging in a dangerous experiment in executive overreach. This approach not only undermines the sanctity of judicial orders but also sets a worrying precedent. The administration's strategy seems to reflect a broader effort to test the boundaries of federal judicial power, a tactic that could have profound consequences for the rule of law. The situation is further inflamed by the involvement of international actors. A particularly noteworthy moment in the ongoing dispute is the reaction from President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. In response to the court order and the administration's subsequent actions, President Bukele posted a tweet featuring a humorous animated image, a confused bunny, accompanied by a message that mocked the legal rationale provided by the Trump team. This lighthearted gesture from a foreign leader, when viewed in the context of such serious allegations, adds an additional layer of complexity. It underscores the reality that the lives and freedoms of individuals are being treated as pawns in a political power play, rather than with the dignity and seriousness they deserve. The tweet from President Bukele also highlights the inherent contradictions in the administration's handling of immigration policy. On one hand, the U.S. government is willing to deport individuals, even legal residents, under questionable circumstances, yet on the other, it refuses to act when an error has been officially acknowledged by the courts. Moreover, the fact that some of those deported have ended up in detention facilities known for harsh conditions, including reports of torture, only intensifies the gravity of the situation. It paints a picture of a system where human lives are subordinated to bureaucratic expediency and political maneuvering. From a procedural standpoint, the legal process now hinges on the interplay between trial court orders and administrative stays. In many cases, trial court judges may grant a brief period, ranging from a few days to even longer, to allow for appellate review. However, given the urgency highlighted in the original ruling, which stressed that Mr. Garcia's life might be at risk, there is little room for delay. The judge's insistence on a prompt return of Mr. Garcia underscores the critical nature of the situation. The Trump administration, meanwhile, has sought an administrative stay to delay compliance with the court's order until it can secure an appeal in the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals. Should the administration fail to abide by the court's mandate by the stipulated deadline of 11:59 p.m. on April 7th, a series of legal consequences is likely to follow. In a similar case involving the unconstitutional deportation of Venezuelan immigrants, federal district court proceedings in Washington, D.C. have already moved toward contempt charges against officials who defied court orders. If Mr. Garcia is not returned within the deadline, it is anticipated that a comparable process will be initiated. The judge may require every Trump administration official involved in the deportation to appear in court and justify their actions, a scenario that could result in severe penalties, including possible jail time for contempt of court. This entire episode not only casts a spotlight on the current administration's handling of immigration and judicial orders, but also raises broader concerns about the state of American governance. The narrative emerging from these events suggests a government increasingly inclined to prioritize power consolidation over legal accountability. Rather than taking immediate steps to correct an acknowledged error, the administration appears intent on using the situation to challenge and potentially weaken the authority of the federal judiciary. Such a strategy, if successful, could fundamentally alter the balance of power between the executive and judicial branches, undermining the foundational principles of constitutional governance. Moreover, the human cost of these administrative missteps cannot be overlooked. Behind every policy dispute lies the real-world impact on individuals like Mr. Garcia, whose lives are caught in the crossfire of bureaucratic and political battles. The wrongful deportation and subsequent detention in a foreign prison, known for its harsh conditions, illustrate the collateral damage inflicted by policies that prioritize expediency over justice. The resulting indignation from both domestic critics and international observers speaks to the profound ethical and legal dilemmas posed by the administration's actions. As this legal saga continues to unfold, the coming days are expected to be critical. The administration's decision regarding the administrative stay will set the tone for future legal proceedings. If the judge denies the stay, it will signal a firm expectation that the court order must be complied with without delay. Conversely, if a brief delay is granted, it may merely postpone an inevitable confrontation in the appeals process. In either case, the underlying issues of judicial authority, executive accountability, and respect for the rule of law remain unresolved. In closing, the unfolding events surrounding Mr. Garcia's deportation and the Trump administration's response represent more than just an isolated legal dispute. They offer a window into a broader pattern of behavior that challenges the very mechanisms of American governance. By flouting judicial orders and offering dubious explanations for its actions, the administration appears to be testing the limits of its power in a manner that raises serious questions about accountability and the protection of individual rights. The coming days will likely reveal whether this strategy will prompt a necessary recalibration of the balance between the branches of government or result in further erosion of the legal safeguards that are central to the democratic process. This report stands as a sober reminder of the critical importance of adhering to the rule of law and the potential consequences when any branch of government seeks to circumvent judicial authority for political gain. As the situation evolves, both legal experts and concerned citizens alike will be watching closely, aware that the outcome of this dispute could have far-reaching implications for the future of American jurisprudence and democratic governance.